Hi, I'm Josh.
And I'm Kirsty. Today we're going to show you how to film an Iron Man HUD shot. Now, you might think this is really difficult because it's a massive blockbuster with huge visual effects, but actually this is something that you can do at home. So we're going to show you how we filmed it.
When you're doing a visual effects shot, it's really important to know what you're going to do before you start shooting. And if you haven't done an effect like that before, it's really important to do a test. So we did a test for this because we didn't know how to do this Iron Man shot, and we didn't know how we were going to track Iron Man's HUD onto Kirsty's face. So we did a test. We didn't set up all the lights and all the other bits. We just filmed something really primitive and worked out how we were going to do that.
While we were prepping for the Iron Man shoot, we noticed that while the design changes from film to film, actually the HUD shot stays very recognizable.
If you look at Robert Downey's face, the perspective is very flat and he's very evenly lit, and then it tends to fall away to black. But there's also this iconic light in the eyes that gives some detail. We're going to try and achieve all of those things in our shoot. What you want to do is crop in really tight. You're maybe going to chop off the top of the head, maybe the bottom of the chin, but this doesn't matter. You're really focusing in on the eyes and the mouth.
The thing is, you can't just put your camera right in front of your actor. If you shoot on a wide lens and you move the camera in really close, you're going to exaggerate the size of everything.
When you're actually watching Stark inside the suit, you don't really ever feel like you're going to get poked in the eye by his massive nose. This is because they're moving the camera back a bit. They're using a longer lens and zooming in. This flattens out the perspective, so the distance between, say, his ears and the tip of his nose looks much smaller.
The lighting from the HUD reflecting on the face is far too complicated to do in camera, so this is one of the things that we did in post. Simon will show you how to do that in this tutorial.
The physical lighting setup we had is actually really interesting. We had one bright light above Kirsty and in front of Kirsty here. We then had a diffuser covering that light, so it created a nice even light over Kirsty's face. Back behind Kirsty we had a black wall. We then had a reflector below Kirsty, so the light coming down would reflect and actually cast the light onto the underside of Kirsty's face. And that gave us a really nice even look. But then we wanted to work on the eyes. So what we did is above the diffuser, we placed two flags in a V shape. And that would mean that we had a sharp V in Kirsty's eyes while we were still getting the diffuse light through to the reflector and onto her face.
Scene one, takes two.
So regarding directing your talent, if your actor is anything like I was, they're going to feel pretty stupid looking at absolutely nothing. This is why you need to give your actor a really good idea of what the focus is.
Your test shot will come in handy here, so you can actually show them what you're trying to get out of it. But something as the director you should also know is what you're intending to do with the HUD elements when you finish the shot. So what we did is we stood in front and said, okay, follow my hand, something comes up here, something comes up here, something comes up here. As you can see, Kirsty is actually moving her eyes, but not her head. So the next thing we said was actually follow my hand with your entire face, because this makes it much more interesting. So it's look over here, then look over here, look over here. And that really works to direct the actor because it gives them something to play off.
The actor needs to remember that their shoulders aren't able to move and only their head can pivot. You need to imagine that the camera is attached to your shoulders rather than your head. At no time should you be moving more than 45 degrees in relation to the camera, because then you're going to lose the things that you're tracking and it's going to make post-production so much harder.
So the area where we had the most snags was with the lighting. It had to be really precise, and there was some light bouncing off surfaces that we had to flag off. So you'll actually see in the behind the scenes, there may be 10 flags on this just to get that perfect look.
So because you guys are awesome and because we guys is awesome, we've included the ungraded footage and the tracking data so that you can get started right away.
And we just want to see what you guys can do with it. Everything is there, use it however you want. Let's see the best that you can do.